San Francisco police singing the praises of a new surveillance unit that puts eyes in the sky to track crime in real time.
Probably one of the most significant paradigm shifts in policing that I've seen in my police career.
We'll take you inside this small operation
I think we're just scratching the surface.
that SFPD credits with hundreds of arrests, and why that's not easing some privacy concerns. And a sigh of relief for investors as President Trump scales back sweeping tariffs with a big exception. We'll hear from a local business that is still bracing to feel the burn.
We want to try and keep our prices reasonable for our customers.
Plus, boating banned through the summer at some popular Northern California reservoirs.
It's really frustrating.
The invasive creature that is causing so much concern.
It's a whole different ballgame.
And later,
every arts organization is having concerns. Is this the end?
we'll meet some of the people trying to save a theater company that's performed on top of Mount Tam for more than a century.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Julette Goodrich.
Good evening. Extra eyes in the sky making a difference on the streets. San Francisco police say a relatively new surveillance program has helped slash crime across the city. We're talking about the Real-Time Investigation Center, where analysts are tracking live drone video and public safety cameras. Police say it is a game changer, helping them stop crimes in progress. But not everyone thinks that much surveillance is a good thing. Lauren Toms takes us inside the center and the debate.
Running. Someone's running. They're running on Geary.
Two running westbound on Geary.
It sounds like a crime show.
Right in front of Louis Vuitton.
But tucked away in the bowels of the Hall of Justice is SFPD's new Real-Time Investigation Center, where analysts are giving live updates to patrol officers to track down criminals with the help of new technology.
All right, it's going back north, getting up to 22nd.
Captain Tom McGuire has been ready for this center to get up and running for the better part of a year, and he says it's already producing results.
We said to ourselves, imagine what it's going to be like when we get to a position where we're operating at full capacity, full scale, 400 citywide cameras, license plate reader cameras, and we're watching it and we're seeing it happen every day.
Dozens of analysts are using the latest in police tech to scan surveillance video, license plate readers, and drone footage across the city to deploy patrol officers in the event of a crime, like this video showing the tracking of a suspected car thief who was caught swapping out license plates. Police Chief Bill Scott says it's not just safer for police officers, but also for the public.
In this past year, we have had more technology advancements, and in this past 3 months, more technology advancements than we've had probably in decades in this police department.
He says the center has already contributed to more than 500 arrests and intervened in 166 stolen vehicle incidents, although it's unclear how many of those arrested have been charged. But that kind of access to private civilians rings alarm bells for groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which champions privacy initiatives. Beryl Lipton says it's a slippery slope before centers like these can violate a person's privacy rights.
There is additional concern about the individual surveillance technologies that are being fed into the crime center, the additional technologies that could be added to the real-time crime center in the future, and then this evolving use of artificial intelligence to try to make connections between different pieces of data that may or may not actually be there, but we, the public, have no sense for how it's actually being conducted.
But Mayor Daniel Lurie is attributing the center to a steep drop in crime across the city. San Francisco has seen a 20% crime drop from January to today compared to the same time last year, and he says this is just the beginning.
Our TIC is helping prevent high-speed chases by tracking suspects remotely. It's helping locate missing people, including people in crisis.
I think we're just scratching the surface. I think that there's just probably one of the most significant paradigm shifts in policing that I've seen in my police career, and we want to continue to grow on this.
Deploying what Silicon Valley is known for best, its technology, on the streets of San Francisco.
The chief says the department still has a staffing shortage. He says the technology won't replace officers, but will make their work more efficient. He says the department has momentum and is seeing an increase in job applications. All right, now to the whiplash on Wall Street. So here's something we haven't seen in a full week: surging stocks. President Trump suddenly hit pause on nearly all of the reciprocal tariffs he enacted 1 week ago, and that led to a historic bounce back for the stock market. So the Dow gained more than 2,900 points, its biggest single-day jump in history. The S&P 500 added 9.5%, and the Nasdaq soared more than 12%. Of course, this only makes up part of last week's losses when the market saw some of the largest drops ever recorded. So this is a look at the interactive stock market heat map. This is brought to you by FinViz. It shows the top 500 stocks in real time. Green means the stock is up. You can see it is green across the board, with major tech stocks like Apple and Nvidia rebounding with double-digit gains. The tariffs will stay at 10% for almost all countries except China. President Trump hiked tariffs on Chinese imports to 125%. This comes after China raised its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods to 84%. And here in the Bay Area, some small businesses that rely on imports from China aren't feeling much relief today. Santa Rosa Cartoons is a family-owned business that sells audio systems, cables, and other car parts. The majority of their items come from China and Canada. One worker tells us she's worried after their supplier sent an email about product price increases.
I'm really trying to be optimistic and just say, okay, we'll make it work. We'll be, inventive, and we'll bring in new lines, and we'll make it work. So that's what I'm trying to be like, but it is, pretty scary.
Santa Rosa Cartoons says they are helping out their customers by offering layaway payments and in-house financing through a company. And you can always track how the Trump tariffs are affecting prices on groceries, cars, and more just using our online tool. Head to cbsnews.com/tariffs. Tomorrow, the Santa Clara District Attorney's Office is set to announce the results of the investigation into dozens of Stanford students arrested during last summer's protests against the violence in Gaza. So this group in particular were arrested after barricading themselves inside the Stanford president's office last summer, which investigators say caused more than $700,000 in damage. It was part of the wider demonstrations across campus over Israel's killing of more than 50,000 people in Gaza since October 7th, 2023. The DA's office has clarified that after months of demonstrations and outcry from free speech groups, that it will not be charging the journalists from the Stanford Daily who were arrested along with the protesters. All right, an update now on the special City Council District 3 election in San Jose. It looks like things are heading toward a runoff. The votes are still being counted, but Gabby Chavez is currently leading with 30%. Anthony Tordillos and Matthew Quevedo are tied at 22%. Tordillos is ahead by just one vote. If no candidate wins a majority of the vote, the two highest vote getters head to a runoff on June 24th. Meantime, Oakland's special election is less than a week away, and the city is expanding early voting hours. A number of sites will now be open this weekend from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Election Day is this coming Tuesday, and the biggest race on the ballot is for mayor. But there's also a city council race for District 2 and a citywide sales tax measure. All right, as the weather warms up, it is a great time to get the boat out for a nice day on the water. But that's no longer an option at the San Pablo Reservoir. It falls under the jurisdiction of the East Bay Municipal Utility District, or East Bay MUD. So the Water District has banned recreational boating at 3 major reservoirs: San Pablo, Comanche, and Pardee. The other 2 are in the Sierra foothills, but they help provide water for EB MUD's 1.4 million customers. So the reason for the ban, these little creatures you see, they're called golden mussels. They're highly invasive, they spread quickly, and they can really jam up water systems. The good news, they have not been spotted in EB MUD's waters yet. But the Water District is not taking any chances. Our John Remus trekked out to Comanche Reservoir, where some boaters are actually luckier than others.
This is Lake Comanche, and above it, Pardee Reservoir, major water supplies for EB Mud and the East Bay. But there is a threat hanging over this area that is radically changing the recreational opportunities for this and other lakes in Northern California.
So we've had a couple boats, but this one's brand new, and now it's stuck in the shop.
Ryan Pennelly has been spending summers at Lake Comanche since he was a little kid. It has become his family's lifestyle as they spend nearly every weekend boating on the reservoir. But all that changed in February when EB Mud, which owns the lake, shut it down to all watercraft.
So it's really devastating to know that what you've always done, your lifestyle has just been like shut down for the summer, and you got to figure out something else to do for fun.
Here's why. The golden mussel, an invasive species native to Asia and never before seen in North America, was discovered in a cluster on a float near the port of Stockton. Since then, it has been found in waterways in and around the Delta and has sent shockwaves through water agencies like EB Mud. Once the mussels begin breeding, they can quickly clog up pipes and machinery and cover any surface they attach themselves to. Back at Lake Comanche, marina worker Benny Flores has learned a lot about the creature in the past 4 months.
They could breed about 4 or 5 times a year, and each time they breed like 1 million babies or something like that. And these new ones are so dangerous because the calcium level in the water can be really low for them to survive, and the oxygen doesn't have to be very high for them to survive either. So they can survive basically anywhere. They can do brackish, saltwater, freshwater.
And it's believed they can survive for a month out of water. So others, like Folsom Lake, are requiring that all boats be cleaned and quarantined for 30 days on the premises before they can be launched. But EB Mud isn't taking any chances. The primary purpose of their reservoirs is as a water supply, and they aren't going to jeopardize their infrastructure in the name of recreation. It's a bitter pill for Ryan, who, like all boat owners, pays the state a yearly fee for mussel inspections of their watercraft.
For the last 15 years, we've been doing inspections, so how come all of a sudden we have a different situation that we can't figure out? So that's kind of the scary part of what we're seeing come in the next couple of years of this whole situation.
The golden mussel is a whole new ballgame, and at this point there is no end in sight, which makes Ryan's dad, Paul, one of the lucky ones.
I usually pull my boat out, usually end of October, early November, but for whatever reason this year I left it in.
He is one of about 200 private boat owners who can continue to use the lake as long as he never takes it out of the water. For at least the rest of the year, and who knows how long after that, it will feel like he has the lake all to himself.
I feel like I could probably sell a boat in the slip, make some money.
To be clear, so far, no golden mussels have been found in any of EB Mud's reservoirs, and it looks like they intend to keep it that way, if possible.
And it's not just boats that are included in East Bay Mud's ban. Any kind of watercraft, including kayaks, paddle boards, and even inner tubes, are prohibited from their lakes. They say life vests will still be allowed for swimmers. One lake in Northern California has been employing rescue dogs to sniff out those golden mussels. At Rancho Seco Lake, southeast of Sacramento, mussel dogs are trained to sniff out multiple types of mussel larvae that can attach to boats and kayaks.
Once they're in the lake, you can't get rid of them. So then you have the whole infestation, and then they're clogging our pipes, and our water's not able to move.
The dogs will be working throughout the state over the summer, making sure the golden mussels don't spread. Still ahead here at 6, funding issues have put Mount Tam's historic theater company on hiatus until further notice. We're going to introduce you to some organizers leading the charge to keep it alive.
We just need to get that back into people's minds so that they get excited about it as much as they were when they were little kids.
Plus, turning infrastructure into art. Why this new garden in San Jose is more than just a scenic spot to relax. A long-running tradition in the North Bay is in jeopardy of coming to an end. We're talking about Mountain Play, the historic Marin County Theater Company. For more than a century, the troupe has been putting on shows at the Cushing Memorial Amphitheater, which sits near the top of Mount Tamalpais. But like many performing arts groups across the country, they've been struggling to increase attendance. Kenny Choi takes a closer look at the outdoor production and what's driving this uncertainty about its future.
It's a walk down memory lane whenever Eileen Grady visits the Cushing Memorial Theater atop Mount Tamalpais, where musicals and plays have entertained generations.
It goes back to our kind of core experience as humans gathering in caves for storytelling.
Rows of stones enough to seat 4,000 people were installed in the 1930s. Grady is executive director of Mountain Play, an outdoor production with views of San Francisco Bay on clearer days.
The architect was Emerson Knight, modeling it, the theater after, Greek and Roman amphitheaters of old.
Hikers and theater lovers first trekked up the mountain to watch the first play, Abraham and Isaac, back in 1913. It's been an annual tradition ever since.
There's something very communal about this space. And you can kind of feel the mountain talking to you sometimes.
But Grady says COVID disruptions, years of changing patterns of entertainment, including the ease of streaming and rising costs to fund full productions, have forced Mountain Play to go on hiatus.
Every arts organization is having concerns. Is this the end?
What's on the line is a tradition of more than a century of theatrical performances in an iconic outdoor setting. Susan Zielinski has performed in 11 mountain plays.
You're standing out on stage and there's no fourth wall, there's no curtain, right? There's no camera. It's just this sea of people that you're connecting with right in the moment.
But it's not just entertainment in the spring that organizers are fearful of losing. It's that communal aspect of connecting at a deeper level supporters of Mountain Play are hoping to save.
I'll talk to people sometimes and they'll say, my family used to bring me all the time when I was little. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Mountain Play. We should go up there. And so we just need to get that back into people's minds so that they get excited about it as much as they were when they were little kids.
Bringing community together. And I think we need that more than ever. And arts and the outdoors are great ways to do that.
Grady isn't sure how to save 112 years of tradition. They're organizing to raise funds and can't walk away after building a firm foundation of history, culture, and community.
A longtime supporter is offering to match any donations up to $100,000. Mountain Play will host a fundraising event in June. If you want to help them out, we've got a link on our website. Go to kpix.com. San Jose leaders out today celebrating the opening of the city's new Riverview Stormwater Garden. The 5-acre park has been in the works for years, and officials say it will help the city divert and treat stormwater through natural filtration before discharging the cleaned water into the Guadalupe River. Mayor Matt Mahan says the park will not only provide better water quality for San Jose, but also provide more open recreational spaces for the community.
This is a beautiful example of how we can turn infrastructure into art and education. San Jose is once again a model for the future. We're showing how we can build smarter, greener cities that serve both people and the planet.
This project marks the first step in San Jose's broader clean water and sustainability initiatives. And Goodwill is closing 2 of its Bay Area locations for good. Its headquarters on Post Street in San Francisco, as well as its store on 30th Street in Oakland. The company is also laying off 90 employees as a result, most of them at the Oakland store, which only recently reopened after remodeling. The closures will go into effect in June.
Temperatures were significantly warmer for most of the Bay Area today, except at the coast, but we expected that. Low 60s for Half Moon Bay, but we had a 20-degree spread in temperatures. Made it up to 71 in San Francisco, 81 degrees in Concord. Maybe not quite this warm tomorrow, but the above normal readings are going to continue for a while. Details coming up in the full First Alert forecast.
It is getting warmer and it's staying dry, and that is the kind of thing that brings kids out to the fountains at Plaza de Cesar Chavez in downtown San Jose. And as Paul mentioned just moments ago, temps reached into the mid-70s in San Jose today. How fun is that? I like he had his swim shirt on too. That was a good mom.
And the goggles.
Son, wear your swim shirt today.
Yeah, especially the warmest part of the day, the UV index.
He's like, Mom, do I have to?
Sun's directly overhead. Yeah.
Smart.
Yes, exactly. And tomorrow, not a bad accessory to have, even if we're
Okay.
a tiny bit cooler. Yeah, we'll get into the details here. We're not going to be completely cloud-free like we were today. Let's take a look at the big picture perspective. And the satellite view does show some clouds out over the Pacific that are going to be trying to move towards us over the course of the next couple of days. There's a storm system that's going to be sending all of its moisture to our north, into the Pacific Northwest. But some passing clouds, a little bit of a wind shift and a wind acceleration. The onshore breeze is going to be a bit stronger. That spells a little drop in temperatures over the next few days. But even the coolest days in the 7-day forecast, we're still going to end up above normal. Let's take a look at where we are right now, looking outside from Salesforce Tower over the Bay Bridge, and it's still warm away from the Bay, and even temperatures around the Bay are in the mid to upper 60s in San Francisco and Oakland. Farther inland, mid-70s, mid to upper 70s, 79 degrees right now in Livermore and in Concord, 74 degrees for current temperature in San Jose. Just perfect spring weather this evening. We're not going to see much fog developing until later tonight. Let's take a look at Futurecast. We're going to take you through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and while there is going to be some fog approaching the coast, making its way through the Golden Gate, it really doesn't start to spread across the bay until well after midnight, but it is going to infiltrate into some of those inland valleys by early tomorrow morning. So it could have a bit of a slowdown effect on the morning commute, allow some extra time for that. And while the fog will be widespread as the sun initially comes up, it won't take long to dissipate inland, and your temperatures will be off to the races once again. And even along the coast, I think you'll see some sunshine breaking through by midday. Temperatures tonight dropping down pretty much to what's normal for this time of year, if not a couple degrees above average, into the low 50s for lows in the Santa Clara Valley. A mix of 40s and 50s along the coast and around the bay, with temperatures inland also a mix of 40s and 50s. 40s for the North Bay, mostly around or just above 50 degrees east of the Oakland Hills. And while temperatures tomorrow aren't going to be quite as warm due to the influence of that fog early in the day and a slightly stronger onshore breeze, we're still going to hit the low 60s at the coast, low to mid 70s for the North Bay, mid to upper 70s east of the Oakland Hills, and a mix of upper 60s and low 70s around the bay and up into the mid 70s in the Santa Clara Valley as well. These numbers about 5 to 7 degrees above what's normal for this time of year. Great dog walking weather tomorrow for a fine looking pup in the dog walking forecast. I don't think Nava could look any happier about tomorrow's weather, but tomorrow may actually put that to the test with temperatures in San Francisco reaching up into the mid to upper 60s during the afternoon. Again, a little bit of that marine cloud cover, especially earlier in the day. But while the breeze will pick up, it's not going to be that breezy by Bay Area standards. Her ears may just be flopping in the wind a little bit. The strongest wind gusts are going to occur in the mid to late afternoon hours in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range, just slightly stronger than the current breeze that you're experiencing if you head out the door. And the UV index with the passing clouds should take one step down. We're at an 8 on the 1 to 12 scale, should be about a 7 tomorrow. So the burn time increases just a little bit. Still, the sunscreen, not a bad accessory to have along with you. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we will start at the coast, where there's not going to be any huge swings in temperatures, mainly staying within a couple degrees on either side of what's normal for this time of year. Along the coast is where you have the best chance of seeing any temperatures that are even a degree below normal. Temperatures around the bay at their coolest, close to what's typical for the middle of April. Intermittent clouds and sunshine, plenty of sun Sunday and Monday. Those would be the warmest days in the 7-day outlook. And temperatures farther inland, warming back up for the second half of the weekend, up into the low 80s. But even the coolest days next Tuesday and Wednesday, still above normal.
I appreciate the dog walking forecast because we have 2 labs,
Yes.
as you know, and we're fostering a dog temporarily.
Okay.
A
What kind?
125-pound German Shepherd.
Okay, so a little guy.
I didn't realize the little guy was coming to our house to foster. Anyway,
That may be part wolf.
the big dog walking
Yeah, he's going to walk
forecast.
you.
All right, when we come back, his name's Murray. A new partnership helping the Golden State Valkyries get their game face on literally. And here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
Will Medicare and Medicaid pay for weight loss drugs?
The answer from the man who could help make that decision tonight on the CBS Evening News.
The Golden State Valkyries say they have their game face on with a little help from Sephora. The team announced the partnership today. Their practice facility in downtown Oakland will now be called the Sephora Performance Center. There will also be a Sephora Sounds DJ booth at Chase Center. The Valkyries will make their debut at Chase Center next month, and single game tickets went on sale today at 5 p.m. The first preseason game is May 6th, with the season starting on the 16th. And CBS News Bay Area is the official home of the Valkyries' inaugural season. We're going to bring you more than 30 games right here on KPIX and on Pix Plus. Can you tell? We're all pretty excited here. CBS Evening News is up next, and we'll have more news streaming on our streaming service. And then we're back right here with more news just for you at 7 o'clock, and we'll see you then.